Welcome back, my venerable viewer, to today's episode of Your Grammar Police. I am your Grammar Police, and my name is my Prinze. Follow me as we go through today's lesson. In this video, I would want us to discuss a topic in phonetics. Now, that topic is one that a lot of people, a lot of English speakers, writers, readers, and users of English have not taken seriously, and some do not even know at all. And because we do not know, we make a lot of mistakes that violate the rules of this topic, and it is very important that we know. The topic I want us to discuss today is digraph. Have you ever learned anything about digraph? Do you know digraph? Right. If you do, follow me. If you do not, follow me. By the end of this lesson, you would like and appreciate digraphs. Now, what is a digraph? A digraph is a pair of letters. Mind you, not a pair of words, not a pair of phrases, not a pair of sentences. A digraph is a pair of letters, just two letters, a pair of them, two letters, that come together to produce a single sound. For instance, I could put O and A together and have the sound of only A. No, we know that in English O is O. It could be O, it could be O. A is A. A could also be A. It could be E. Now, when you have a word like G-O-A-T, ordinarily, following the individual sounds of the individual letters, G-O-A-T should have been pronounced as goat. But why do we call it goat? We call it goat because O and A come together to produce the sound of an O. Sometimes they produce a sound that is neither of the letters coming together. That is what it means to say a digraph. So a digraph is a pair of letters whose net phonetic sound is a single sound, or the sound of a single letter. Let's take another word, B-R-E-A-D, bread. Why don't we call it bread, but call it bread? We call it bread because the E and the A, the two vowels in between R and D, form a digraph, and they produce the sound of E. That's the phonetic sound they produce. E and A come together to form E, and that is how we call it bread and not bread. There are a lot, countless digraphs in English language, but for the purpose of this video, I want to focus on the digraph that has a pair containing W and H. So WH is a digraph. It is not a digraph in every word in English where you see W and H appearing together, one by the side of the other. But WH is a digraph in a lot of words in English, some of which are WHAT. When W and H come together in a word and they function as a digraph, then they produce the sound of only the W. The H goes completely silent. This is a rule. So in WHAT, we do not say what. The correct pronunciation is what, as if the spelling is just W-A-T. What. It is wrong to say what. It is not another option. The pronunciation does not come from the throat. It comes just from the mouth. What. You do that with your lips and your mouth. You don't say what. What comes from the throat. You blow air out of your throat to say what. But that is wrong. So in WHAT, the WH, the first two letters, form a digraph, and those two produce the sound of just the W. So we say what. We have another, WHICH. Many people call it which, especially in Ghana and other parts of Africa. When you watch African movies, you have classmates, you have teachers. In this part of the world, many people call it which. Which. The same way they mention what. They blow the air from the throat. The WH at the beginning of WHICH is which. That's the correct pronunciation, which. So if I have a human being who is a witch, or a woman or a female who is a witch, as in WITCH, the pronunciation of that witch is the same as the pronunciation of WHICH, which, because W and H assume the sound of just the W. The H goes completely silent because WH is a digraph. And this is the rule for the digraphs. Wherever you see digraphs, you can have only one sound. You cannot put the sounds of the two individual letters together. They transform into a different sound. And that sound could be either of the two letters or a different letter altogether. So we have WHEN. It's pronounced as when and not when. You don't blow air to say that. It's when. Just relax and say when. So we have what, which, when, and WHY is why. It's not why. Why. A lot of people say why, what, when, which. These are all wrong. The correct pronunciations are what, when, why, which. And then the last in this category, you have WHERE. Ordinarily, a lot of people will say where. Where are you going? But the correct pronunciation is where. So they were in your house yesterday. We were there. We were here yesterday. So WERE has the same pronunciation as WHERE. Where are you going? Were they there? The two words are where. Each of them is pronounced as where instead of where. So now you have learned that because of the topic digraph or digraphs, we know as a rule that it is wrong to say where, when, which, what, and why. These should be mentioned as where, when, which, why, and where. Where, when, which, why, and what. You do not say that from your throat. Now, there are other words that also have this WH digraph. Note that we also have trigraphs, where three different letters come together to produce the sound of just a letter. But today, for the purpose of this video, we are treating only digraphs. Just get the understanding and keep it. I will do trigraphs in another video, and we will stick to that understanding too. Now, the following words also follow the sounds that WH as a digraph dictates as a matter of rule. We have whistle. A lot of people say whistle. It is wrong to say whistle or whistling. The word is whistle. And then we have whine instead of whine. When you complain, another word for complaining is whining. You don't say whining, it's whining. So we have whistle, we have whine, and then he was here a while ago. That word is not while, it's while. So the WH assumed the sound of just the W. So you say while. While he was there, I was on my way. So you say while, you don't say while. And then there is this big aquatic animal, the biggest aquatic animal. It's actually a mammal, but people think it is fish because it looks like fish. They call it whale. Whale is wrong. The correct pronunciation is whale because it also follows this digraph rule. So we have whale instead of whale. I was able to brainstorm a few words for you, and we have wheel. When you sit on a vehicle and the driver grabs the wheel, it is not wheel. In Ghana here, a lot of people say wheelbarrow, wheelbarrow, wheelchair. It's wheelchair, wheelbarrow. We don't say wheel. Get that right. And commonly we have white, the color white. A lot of people say white, white, white. White is wrong. You do not say that from your throat. You don't need to blow out any air in order to say that. Just relax and let your lips do the talking. White. Just in your mouth. White. I have white in my background. It is not white. Take note. All these things form part of the rules of digraphs. Alright? And then we have whale. People say there was a whirlwind around today. It's not whirlwind. The wind is whirlwind, even though it is spelled as WHIRL. So whirlwind, not whirlwind. Note that. And then we have weather. Whether he will go or come, I do not know. The word is not whether. Of course, you know this has been commonly pronounced as weather. For this word, we use the correct pronunciation more often than the wrong pronunciation. So we don't have whether, we have weather. And we call it weather because it is a digraph. The WH is a digraph. So if you have WHETHER, it's weather instead of weather. And then we have whip. Whip, WHIP. It's not whip. A lot of people say whip. In Africa here, a lot of people say whip, and I know it's not only in Africa. Some parts of Asia, Europe, and other continents have people who also say whip, just as some Africans do. So take note, the word is whip, not whip. And then we have whet. I will whet your appetite. You can see that here again we use the correct pronunciation more often than the wrong pronunciation. It is hardly would you find somebody saying this food is whetting my appetite. We use the correct pronunciation, and we say wet because the WH is a digraph. And then we have whisper instead of whisper. We don't have whisper, we have whisper. And then we have whiskers, those spikes on animals around the mouth of a cat. We have whiskers. Then we have wither. We have whiskers, and then we have wither. They all assume the sound of a W. Then we have whimsical. Whimsical instead of whimsical. When I was in JHS, I had a teacher who used to say that word, and he usually mentioned it as whimsical. Whimsical. But I grew up to learn that the word is whimsical. It's not whimsical. So we have whim and then whimsical. We don't have whimsical. And then we have whiskey. Have you been drinking that whiskey? Why don't you call it whiskey? It is WHISKY, and we call it whiskey because the WH follow the digraph rule. So you can't say whiskey, you say whiskey. Now note, however, that to every rule in English there is an exception. So there are words that have WH in them that are supposed to be digraphs, yet they do not follow the digraph pronunciation because they have been exempted from the rule. One of those words is who, WHO. You cannot say woo for WHO because it is an exception. You say who for WHO, and then you say whom. You can't say whom. Whom are you giving my book to? You say, whom are you giving my book to? For the exceptions, you actually need to say them from your throat. Blow that air out. Let the air bring out the sound. Whom, who, whore. If you have a prostitute and you can't say prostitute and you want to say whore, then you can't say war because or is an exception. These are the exceptions I could brainstorm for you. There are several other exceptions. As you come across them, verify to see whether they are actually digraphs following the rule or they are exceptions. I hope this lesson has gone down so well with you. If it hasn't, play the video again. Play it again. If you still do not understand, leave a comment. Leave a question in the comment section, and I will always be glad to answer you. This is the end of the lesson. We will treat trigraphs in another video. I'll see you in my next video, but until then, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go right ahead and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, share the video, and then I'll see you in the next video. I am your grammar police. My name is Prinze. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.